Good morning and happy Friday. Hope your day is off to a very good start. Ours is here on the Channel 3 porch talking with Vita Zagorodny, Zagorodny.
Yes.
I said it right. Who has posture solutions therapy. And we were laughing a little bit saying that we're both trying to stand up straight this morning. And you said, I think a lot of us are finding ourselves doing like this more and more these days.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me again.
So I like your topic this morning. You want to focus on back pain because if you're not holding yourself properly, and that includes, right, the positioning of your neck, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump until you've got some low back pain.
Exactly. And low back pain is probably one of the most common symptoms, and that's the key word here, that I think I deal with, but I think most of America. I mean, I think there's like studies done how there's millions of people who just live with chronic back pain, and they shouldn't have to. And the reason I say symptom is because more than likely your back's not really the problem. It's just showing up symptomatically that there's issues there. We've got to take a look above and beyond, like you mentioned with the head, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the hip position and go into more detail of what really causes back pain.
There's a phrase that's come out in recent years, I'm sure y'all have heard it too, that says sitting is the new smoking. Is that the right phrase?
Yes.
So a lot of us are sitting, even at your office chair. Someone told me once that if you don't have the proper chair, you can kind of get into a bad habit of letting the chair support you, and that weakens your core.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. But to kind of look at the broader way of looking at it, as there really isn't a chair out there that will help you, sit up correctly. But if you already are struggling with poor posture, and then you get one of those slouchy chairs, so it's kind of like a double whammy where you have an issue with the way your body's functioning and then the way you're sitting in something currently all the time.
Right.
So changing your chair definitely can help, but figuring out how you're sitting in that chair with your hips and lower back and stuff like that would be the best way to resolve that.
So I'm going to let you get into your tips and the things that you see, but I did kind of brush over who you are and your credentials, and some people might have not seen you before.
Right.
So you have a business called Posture Solutions Therapy, but you have extensive training from Atlanta, right?
Yes. So I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology, so it's just biomechanics, study of how the body functions, and then I got further certified in posture alignment therapy, so just specializing in posture all day long.
So you customize this for people?
Yes, so it's a very individualized form of therapy. It's very different than maybe, regular physical therapy, where we take a look at you from head to toe and full posture evaluation, not symptom-based, but root cause-based therapy.
Okay. So why are you focusing on the hips this morning before your neck or your back?
Well, you mentioned core. I like to think of core as like your whole body, because if you've got a really strong stomach but everything else is out of alignment, then you've got a strong core but nothing else, right? So I like to think of your whole body as core, and our hips as pretty much center of gravity, because we're designed to be hip-driven people.
Okay.
We're designed to move. We move with our hips. We sit on them. We do a lot. I mean, you can't just leave them at home, right? There's a lot that happens there. So
some of us wish we could.
Yeah, right.
Okay, go ahead.
But when our hips become misaligned, elevated, rotated, deviated from that natural position, shifting forward, right? We tend to stand a lot, the sway back type of.
Yeah, why do we do that?
Well, you're trying to redistribute your weight. And so your hips aren't strong enough to hold, your muscles are not strong enough to hold those joints in those alignments, and so it causes you to shift forward. I mean, every person's different, so I don't know exactly in your case, but we don't have time to evaluate you today, right? But really, that's where it stems from. If we can figure out how your center of gravity is off. We have a muscle called the psoas that attaches at your lower back, inserts into the front of your leg. That gets really tight. That's a flexor muscle. If that's not working, your back's going to jump in to help.
What if you're like me, I'm bad about this, and I sit at my desk and I cross my legs? That's a no-no?
Right. That forces your hips to not be stable anymore. Now you will elevate up a hip on one side, right? If your leg crosses over, that leg will shift the hip up. So it's actually better to just cross your foot over the knee and then pull your knee down. Does that make sense?
No.
Kind of hard to do.
You're sitting like that. Oh, like that?
Like that, yeah.
Like men do.
Yeah, like men do. They got something right.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just pushing that knee down so it opens the pelvis up. versus elevating a hip and getting stuck in that dysfunction.
Okay, what about driving in the car? A lot
Well-
of moms are in the car line right now.
Yeah.
Why is it that you could feel like you're not sitting properly in your...
Because your pelvis tucks under when you're sitting in a car chair, right?
Right, so
Or-
what should you do?
Well, I mean, if you're sitting in a car line and you're waiting and you know no, you're not moving, so you're in park, you could roll your hips forward a little bit, create an arch, and even do something simple like shoulder rolls. You know,
Really?
forward and backward, yeah, by making sure you're not slouching, but you're sitting up nice and tall.
Is a lot of it that we're just not cognizant of how we're standing, and once you become aware of it, you naturally sort of pull yourself open?
In a way, but we don't really want to think about having good posture because we already have way too much to think about. Since muscles naturally move bones, we want those muscles to actually do their job and hold us up straight. We create bad posture by, maybe by thinking or by slouching certain, just day-to-day activities. But just by standing tall, you won't retrain it. You have to figure out why you're why do you have misalignments? Get in there and fix that muscle memory, retrain it.
Okay, I want to pick up on that because you just said something pretty powerful. You said muscle moves bone. So if you have, make it simple, a bad habit of doing this,
Yeah.
right, over time, you're going to kind of mold
Right.
that way, right? So at Posture Solutions Therapy, what is it? Where do you start? And what's the kind of timeline maybe that a person's looking at to remedy things?
Right. So I would start. Well, I start with everybody. We take your shoes off. We put you in front of a camera and take your photos and say we put a plumb line through you. We put something, a line on your body like a graph, so you can see how you stand. Because you can look at yourself in the mirror and think I'm pretty straight. Take a picture, put a line through it, and you have something to guide it against, and you may see that you're not really as straight as you think you are.
Yes.
And that's where we would start, is putting your posture against the blueprint of the human body, of the way it's designed to stand.
Okay.
Put those two together and then go through functional movement and say, okay, well, you're not flexing here correctly. You're not moving your arm the way you should. Your foot's not striking the way it should. All these little details create the bigger picture of how your body overall is moving.
Okay.
And then, I have programs. I usually do 8 or 16 sessions. And
Is that once a week?
once a week.
Okay.
Sometimes we spread it out 2-3 weeks depending. But my goal with each person, because I'm so individualized and so we take care of each exercise together and making sure that everything works. We tried within 8 weeks get really awesome results. In fact, week 1 I want to see results. I'm really big on that.
So we began this conversation about back pain. The result then is not going to just be that you look better, because let's face it, the better our posture, the better our appearance, but you feel better. Do people end up saying, my back pain went away and something else
Yes.
improved too?
Oh yes, most people will come in with one thing hurting, and then so much will change. And so I sleep better now.
Oh, really?
I'm more functional. I just got on the floor with my child to play Legos, and haven't done that in 6 months or
I
something
think
like that.
better? Do they say I think
Yes.
better?
Yeah. Well, if your head is in better alignment, I was actually reading an article about that this morning. Blood flow can get restricted. So if you have less blood flowing into your brain, you probably can't function as well, right?
Right.
And so just getting that head back into alignment increases blood, which increases oxygen.
So this is a therapy that's happening kind of gradually, right? I mean, this is a slow progression for your body, so nothing's going to be jarred or impacted.
Yes, we want to. It's a slower process, but it's a long-term process because your body creates poor posture on its own. We want to do it the same way, actually get your body to retrain and create it on its own. So the body has to learn how to move differently and stuff like that.
You mentioned physical therapy. So let's say that somebody watching has had knee replacement surgery, for lack of it. And I guess they will then go through physical therapy.
Right.
And that has its place.
Right.
Would it be appropriate, though, then even after that or while that's going on, to also come and see you?
Yes, for
you
sure.
work in tandem?
Yes, for sure. I definitely do. And I even currently right now have a few clients who've had replacements. They've rehabbed from the surgery and they're moving better, but they're still struggling with pain because there was a reason that knee had to be replaced. That friction in there that moved away and dissipated the cartilage. And so structurally in the whole body, there's probably still dysfunction. And so to even prevent future issues, right? So you don't want to have another knee replaced, or
Right.
you really want the replacement that you had to actually function your whole life the way it should.
A minute left. kids, if you or adults too, who are not having problems, but they want to make sure they keep them at bay, you're beneficial there too.
Definitely. Yeah. Long-term preventative care. That's something that's really big and something that a lot of people don't think about because they usually think when it's painful, then they start doing something on it.
Right.
But preventative care, so you can avoid all these degenerations and issues in the future.
So in terms of contacting you, you're down in Fort Oglethorpe. Do people come to you or do you go to them?
Both. So it just depends. Some people prefer me to travel out to them. I'm also might be doing a new space in St. Elmo.
Oh.
So we're just kind of trying to expand a little bit. But I have all kinds of options, so people can reach out to me on social media or my website, and we can talk what works best on setting up a time.
All right. Vita, it's always good to see you.
Thank
you can
you.
reach her at Posture Solutions Therapy, her phone number, website there on your screen. She really does mean it when she says that she customizes it for you. So even if your whole family came to see her, you each are going to have your own exercises to work on when you get home. Great talking to you.
Thank you.
Show us your mug, and you could win one of our mugs, plus a delicious ice cream cake from Dairy Queen. Just email your photo to show